Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Jamara Davis Welch, and I'm back to share some more insights from my new book, High Value, The Prayer of a Queen. Last time we talked about how Esther had prepared herself for prayer through fasting and complete humility. Today, I want to share something fascinating about how she actually began her prayer, because there's a powerful lesson here. You see, in the Septuagint version of the Bible, we get to read Esther's actual prayer. And as a sidebar, for those of you who just cannot bear to go beyond the King James Version, get the 1611 KJV, all right? Her prayer is in there too. Don't worry, you're going to be all right. I got you covered. But I do want you to know that the Septuagint predates the KJV and has the complete Old Testament as well as the Apocrypha. It doesn't include the New Testament, just the Old Testament and the Apocrypha, which was used heavily by early believers. And to be frank, the KJV, it's not the complete works of the Bible. There's actually more than 66 books, but we'll discuss that at another time. Now, back to our program. You see, in Esther's approach to God, she spoke to him in a very specific way, and I want you to listen to how she begins. I actually have her prayer on my screen. She began by saying, "O Lord, thou alone art our King. Help me who am destitute and have no helper but thee, for my danger is near at hand. I've heard from my birth in the tribe of my kindred that thou, Lord, tookest Israel out of all the nations and our fathers out of all their kindred for a perpetual inheritance, and has wrought for them all that thou hast said. And now we have sinned before thee, and thou hast delivered us into the hands of our enemies because we honored their gods. Thou art righteous, O Lord, but now they have not been contented with the bitterness of our slavery, but have laid their hands on the hands of their idols in order to abolish the decree of thy mouth and to utterly destroy thine inheritance." Did you catch that sequence? First, Esther acknowledges God's absolute sovereignty. Thou alone art our King. Think about that. Here she was married to the most powerful earthly king, yet she knew exactly who the true king was. Now, what really strikes me is what comes next. She doesn't just make a general confession. No, she specifically names idolatry. We have sinned before thee, and thou hast delivered us into the hands of our enemies because we honored their gods. This wasn't just any sin she was confessing. It was the sin that had plagued Israel throughout their history, repeatedly leading to their captivity, their slavery and exile. You see, in Leviticus 26, we are actually instructed to confess not only our sins, but the sins of our ancestors. Esther understood this. She wasn't just acknowledging her sin or her generation's failures, but a pattern that went back several generations, ancestral sins. And here's what's fascinating. At this very moment, Esther and her people were facing a crisis that started because Mordecai refused to bow to Haman, refusing to commit this very sin of idolatry. Do you see the connection? The same sin that had led to their captivity was now threatening their lives because they refused to commit it. This wasn't just a random prayer. This was strategic communication with God that started with proper recognition of who he is and a deep understanding of their history, their sins, and their offense to the Most High. Next time, we're going to delve deeper into Esther's prayer by discussing her honesty about her feelings as a queen of Persia. And I think her rawness is going to surprise you. Now tell me, what do you think about this level of specific confession in prayer? I'm talking about the ancestral confession. I'd love for you to share your thoughts in the comments below. And in closing, as a reminder, my book is available now on Amazon and Google Play. Also, as I mentioned in my last video, with the potential changes that are coming up on TikTok on January 19th, for those of us here in the United States, if you're watching me on TikTok, remember that you can also follow me on Instagram at the SM Society, as well as YouTube at the Supermodel Society for more insights. With that, salama and barakah, in other words, peace and blessings.